So today we are really honored to have with us Yang Bahagia Associate Professor Dr. Dayang Norhayati Abang Jawawi to give a talk, share her experiences and views in our 13th CALM workshop series entitled Lessons Learned from Online Teaching and Learning Implementation at School of Computing UTM.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you very much to Dr. Kartini. First of all, I would like to thank UNIMAS for inviting me to this workshop series, and then for giving the opportunity to share UTM experience, especially School of Computing. Our experience is not that long, actually, 3 months apart from your experience. But inshallah, we try to share something from this 3 months experience. And online learning is also new to most of our staff in School of Computing. So due to that, this is why I would like to choose lesson learned that we went through this 3 months experience with lecturing and with the administration point of view. Can we go to the next slide? So the outline is, first I would like to really discuss about change, what change mean to us, because it seems like this pandemic brings many change, we think. Is it that much change? We will discuss about that. And then how lecturers should react to this change if we refer to lecturing point of view. So in this point, I will share my class, how I plan and how I manage my class. And then I will proceed to school level, because when we go to something new, we need to go together, meaning the lecturer need to change their procedure, and then the school and faculty also need to support their staff in doing so. So this is the reason why I really hope that my sharing can benefit most of you. So then I will conclude. Okay, next. Okay, for us in software industry, change is something normal, because when we're talking about software, it's very easy to change, but it's very difficult to manage, because once change happen, we need to manage change. Okay, so I will discuss what happened here, why we want to change. Okay, next. Okay, there are a pulling factor to change. And then back before that, Dr. Mazlina, can I go back? No? Okay, stop here. There are pulling factor and pushing factor. One example of pulling factor, before COVID-19, early of this February semester, before we start, UTM decided to have 1 week online teaching and learning 100%. We planned for that. Okay, so we already informed lecturers saying that we're going to have this 1 week online learning. That is our plan. The purpose that we want to do that 1 week is we want to have pulling factor of change, gradually change. But unfortunately, okay, next. Okay, then we are forced to change, pushed to change, because 1st April, before 1st of April, UTM said we will implement online 100% teaching online starting from 1st April. And then when we check with our friend in other university, they have not started yet, and then we are the first. So you know what? There are so mixed reaction, you know, among the lecturers, among the students. They keep on saying, "Is it for real? Is it true? Everybody are in doubt. Is it correct? Everybody not sure where to start." But as I mentioned, it's a push factor. Everybody should go forward. Okay, next. Okay, when we're talking about change, I think I get this slide from software change textbook. Where we're talking about change, there are different type of change. There are routine, like things that you do every day, minimum change. There are things that incremental change, which is we can change slowly, and there are situation is radical change. Okay, next. Okay, for me, back. For me, this is incremental change, where we are given opportunity to prepare. Like for us, we are given 2 weeks to prepare, but UNIMAS has more time to prepare, and then we don't expect everybody to get ready in week 1. Everybody will be competent in week 1. No, you need to experience and improve gradually. That's what we call in software engineering incremental change. Okay, we don't expect everybody will be except for some people who really have their own experience, especially for those who from education faculty. I presume like Dr. Nobiha that you invited last time. She really in the field, that is her research. But for us, like for me, myself, it's something new. So I need to set up my mind. I need to change, but I cannot change drastically. I need to change gradually. Okay, next. Okay, when we talk about change, you need something called innovation to change. In order to innovate, you need to have knowledge. So, this session, like what you organize, is part of the learning process. We also organize many series of sharing among our lecturer in UTM during the 2 weeks before we start, and during like first month before we start. Okay, we keep on do or organize sharing session online, and then due to the learning process, then we can do innovation and start change. Okay, next. Okay, when we change, we cannot change alone. Everybody, all the organization need to change with us. If you change alone, it's going to be toughest thing to do, because everybody, like we usually say, buat de je, and you are the only one who want to change. So next. Okay. Here I took this picture from one management book, okay, software management book. If we change, we have layer of people who are responsible for this change. For us, as a university and ministry are top layer change. They are the decision maker. We need to wait for their policy. And then faculty need to refine the guideline towards our discipline, because each faculty have their own discipline, because some of the guideline provided by university and ministry cannot be used directly to our courses. We really need to really adapt to the guideline or the procedure being defined by ministry or university. And who are responsible to implement the change are lecturers. Okay, lecturers, and don't forget our support staff, because all things are organized in online. Like now we are in the process of vetting final exam question. We need to retrain our support staff how to handle online material in terms of the confidential part of it, because they used to handle it in hard copy, right? So how are we going to manage that? Okay, and then next, the value that we want to promote is for students. Whatever we will do is for whatever we do are for our student. Okay, we want to pass the good value to our student. Okay, next. Okay, in software engineering, because my background is software engineering, and then I have few research student doing agile software engineering, because software is too agile. Okay, Agile means that we need to respond to change in whatever situation. And then I think digital age software is the main driver to change, especially in online teaching and learning. Okay, next. Here I bring a number of examples of change we usually do. We usually do it as a faculty or if, as a school or as a lecturer. We usually do change to our day-to-day work. Like for example, the most don't like change is curriculum review because we really need to do so many things. We need to consider so many parameters in order to do this change. This is one change. Okay, next. So usually it takes 1 to 2 years to do curriculum review. So the change is evolution. We need to do it slowly and then plan properly. Okay, next. The second example of change that I put here is currently, I think before PKP, before RMO, our faculty or our school been given responsibility to not to convert, to add open distance learning mode to 2 of our postgraduate program. Because UTM already have our open distance learning mode, meaning that 100% of the course conducted online for postgraduate courses. So we be given this responsibility before RMO, okay? So we're still doing it now. We are preparing document for ODL, ODL audit. Okay, next. We plan to do it 9 to 1 year. Okay, 9 months to 1 year to do it. Okay, this is another change. Next. This is another change that I went through a few years ago. My course been appointed as massive open learning course because we want to use this massive open learning course for our part-time student. So we developed this. Okay, next. 2 of us, Dr. Bahia and I, developed it for 6 and 9 months. It seems like it's reasonably month of change as compared to UTM. You given like 2 weeks to prepare for online. Okay, next. And then a simple change. This is simple change because our school has a 2U to I program. Okay, our 2U to I program is Bachelor of Computer Science, Data Engineering. What we need to change in this nature of 2U to I assessment, only assessment, not the whole course, only assessment, where we need to introduce assessment which will be used to assess the student 1 year with industry. Because with 1 year, the student will do professional courses, with registered for professional courses, and also will complete their final project with industry. So in order to come up with this assessment, we need to come up with a proper rubric. So it's require us like next. Like 2 to 6 months to develop the rubric, because we need to design a rubric, we need to meet industry, we need to discuss with industry, are they agree to use the rubric, and then give feedback before we really can use the rubric with 2U2I courses program, especially the last 1 year, the student with industry. This is another change. Okay, next. This is the latest change where UTM been given 2 weeks to plan before we start. And then before that 2 weeks, we already went through 6 weeks physical face-to-face. That's okay, I think. Because you already meet your student, you already get to know them, they know your style and things like that. But we have another 12 weeks more to run online learning. Okay, so due to that, one change that UTM made in our academic calendar is we added 4 to 5 weeks additional weeks. so that the lecturer and the student can adapt into the environment. So when we start 1st April, we give flexibility to the student, to the lecturer to start their class 1st week or 2nd week. Okay, but make sure they start after 3rd or 4th week, because due to that flexibility. Okay, like some lecturers start 1st week having problem to stop the 2nd week and start again on the 3rd week of the class. Okay, we understand that. That's what we call incremental change. Okay, next. Okay, here we go directly to my course. Okay, next. We share experience with my course. I'm teaching embedded real-time course, which is very focused with IoT, robotic, cyber, physical system. It sounds like to engineering. Okay, next. Okay, the course called Real-Time Software Engineering, SCJ 4423. Usually my students call it RTSE course. So this is an elective course. We offer 2 sections for final year student, Bachelor of Computer Science Software Engineering student. Okay, next. Okay, the implementation, this is I describe about the normal implementation, not online implementation. We implement collaborative assignment and project. And then we usually invite field expert from IoT and robotics to give comments to the student assignment and project. And then we have labs for programming class, programming labs and robotics lab. And then we also have lecture. Okay, we have a number of artifacts that we assess, like software development, time analysis, adaptability, these other things, and including the physical hardware. The student need to do programming on the physical hardware. Okay, next. Okay, this is a before RMO, so we can invite industry. Next, the student can go to the lab, do programming with robots, perform programming, and then do group discussion for collaborative learning. Okay, this is normal. So then I will share with you how I changed this course to become online. Okay, next. These are the context constructing alignment, where we have CLO, C5, P3, and A3. And we have also formative and summative assessment. And we have different activities of teaching and learning. Okay, next. Okay, what we need to do, what are needed to change is, first is plan, run, evaluate, and improve. This thing needs to be done in secular, in all phases. Like before you start your class, you need to plan, execute, and evaluate, and then improve for the next class. Okay, because might be this class you find out your student having a problem with internet. Then next class you need to change the strategy that you teach. Or this class you think that your students are not collaboratively discuss, not engage with you. So next class you need to improve. This is what I mean by plan, run, evaluate, and improve using agile methodology. So here I will discuss how I plan, what tools that I use for teaching and learning delivery, and what material that I prepared for my class. Okay, next. Okay, before I start, the initial thing that I did before I start my class on the 1st April, because 1st April is my class. 1st April is on Wednesday, then we start the 1st April with my class at 10 o'clock in the morning. Before that 1st April, I already distribute survey, simple survey to my student and look at their internet speed and everything. Okay. And then from this survey, I decide next, I can only use synchronized and task-based. I cannot use synchronized, meaning that live, like using WebEx or using Zoom for my class, because there are like 3 or 4 students who having quite low internet connection in my class. Okay. Okay. Due to this, then I plan. Okay. Next. Okay. From my slide, you will see lesson 1. I will conclude this note at the end. Okay, lesson 1, high touch over high tech. Okay, if you ask me what I want to do, definitely I want to use WebEx because it's easy and it's high tech. I can see my student faces and things like that. I can see their response. But unfortunately, there are limitations where some of my students, a number of my students having problem. So that's why I say high touch over high tech. I cannot use the high tech. I need to lower down my high tech in order to have a high touch. So first approach is synchronized. Semi real time, sometimes not real time. I need to prepare pre-recorded video. Okay, my student don't have any problem to access UTM e-learning. Okay, and then I cannot communicate, but I need to come up with some interactive activity so that my student can do their activity. And then I need to plan for class session. Like if I cannot communicate with them 3 hours from 10 to 1 of my class session using WebEx, I need to use WhatsApp for this communication. I need to text them. I need to see their progress. Okay. And then another important thing is assessment. I need to plan for my assessment. I cannot use synchronized assessment. I cannot use online assessment where the student need to be in the system all the time interactively. I need to use a synchronized. Okay, next. Okay, another approach that I choose is task-based online. Okay, task-based is monitor progress. This one is more on task. I will give work or task to the student, and the student will go execute the task, and then I monitor the progress of the student to see whether they understand or that or not. Then I will give feedback. Okay, this is task-based. Then I choose the mixture of asynchronous and task-based online learning. Okay, next. How I plan. UTM, we provide all lecturer with supplement course information. Supplement course information where we need to plan what we need to do to achieve certain CLO. What are the activity? How long does it take for the student to do something in online during online class or during learning and session activity? Okay. Versus our CLO. Okay, next. And we also need to replan our assessment because, like for example, if your final exam is too high and you want to change it, you might want to change less summative, put more on formative, because you change the way you assess, and then the reliability of the assessment might be less accurate. Then you might want to align the assessment. Like in my class, I changed. Before this, my problem solving mark is lower. Then I increased the problem solving mark where the student need to perform the problem solving task, like task based every week. So I increased that one, and I reduced my final exam mark because from face-to-face physical final exam, I changed it to take home examination. Okay, these are the change that I made. Next. Okay, Another lesson is use technology intentionally. You need use technology is because don't use technology because it's trendy. No, use technology based on what you intended to do. Okay, like in my class, I would like to first share all the material, like my video, the task-based question, get feedback from my student and things like that. Then I will use UTM e-learning. Okay, and then WhatsApp is for consultation during class session. So like my class is at 10 o'clock, then I will open this WhatsApp session at 10. Then I will greet, okay, Assalamualaikum, very good morning, we start our class, okay. And then I list all the tasks that the student need to do for that 3-hour session. Okay, next. And then log in regularly because you are if you're using task-based online learning, you're giving many activity to the student. Some of it formative assessment, some of it might be summative, some of it formal, some of it not formal assessment, where some of it you want to grade, some of it just want to comment so that you know they are learning. So what's so good about Moodles, you can evaluate, you can look at their activity, like how many attempts the student did this exercise, how many attempts, in terms of their attempt in doing any activity given to them. Like for example, you can see here some of the attempt is like 200, you know, with 30 students with 200 attempt, meaning that there are students who try many times to get the answer right and things like that. You know the efforts of your student in learning a particular topics or particular material that you used. Okay, next. Okay, WhatsApp, as I mentioned just now, is for consultation during class. It's like flipped classroom. Like if you can see my example here, the day before my 13 May class, I give them message saying that Assalamualaikum, good morning, see all in tomorrow session at 10. Tomorrow session you need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So the student already know, okay, tomorrow we're going to have Dr. Dayang class. These are the things that I need to do. Okay. Some of it they need to do it before, like I usually ask them to read notes. Just go through note. It doesn't have to understand 100% of the note. It's just that you know the pattern of the note. It should be fine because it's easier for you to refer to the note during the class session when we discuss. And then this example, I provide them video and short activity. And then I usually have in most of my class, I usually have two type of activities: informal and formal. Informal, I'm not going to grade the student, no grading, but I will invite a number of students to share their solution, and then I will discuss whether it's the best, is it correct way to do it, and things like that. And then tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I will start my class as usual, and then I start with giving attendance. And then what's so surprised is I usually don't have that much question if I'm doing physical face-to-face. But when I organize it using online, there are so many questions given to me during that session. Sometimes my class go to like, because my class is from 10 to 1. 1 is usually break for lunch hour, 1 to 2. Usually the question and answer will drag to 1:30 and something like that. Okay, but I don't have that experience when I manage my class physical face-to-face, because it seems like the student try hard to understand before they go to class because they want to participate in the class activity. Okay, next. Okay, personal feedback. Okay, in the WhatsApp group, try to make the class section interactive. Try to mention the name of the student. Like if the student asks question, because in class you have eye contact with student, right? Here you don't have eye contact with student. So in class, I tend to recognize and memorize the student faces. Sometimes I forget the name, but I memorize their faces. But in online, I memorize the name, but I cannot match with their faces. Okay, but some of them have their profile in WhatsApp or profile in e-learning. I can match, but yeah, please address the name. Like for example, if somebody not attending the class yet, for example, if you have a look at my first site here, waiting for my lovely student to clock in. Because I already start, some of my students not in, so because I want to start a group activity, so I want the group to have enough members in their groups, so I want them to be in the group before I start the activity. Okay, so and if my student asks something, then I try to mention the name. Like for example, thank you Nase, mention the name so that they feel, ah, Dr. Dayang know my name. And if the activity is done in group, try to say something about their group. Like for example, like here I'm giving commented group 3. These are the comment that I gave. So I use this way. Okay, then the students say, okay, thank you, doctor. We will do the correction and things like that. Okay, so these are the activity for 3 hours. We usually have break, but 3 hours we do it from 10 to 1 o'clock. Okay, next. Okay, for exam, because we want to have because we already did our conduct our test, take home test somewhere before Raya. Okay, so we have experience on a bit on summative assessment. We don't use, because we for this class we have 2 sections. Okay, so that we want to have experience of like examination hall. All the section, all student in like 2 section will be in one room, so that they can ask question, you can give instruction. Due to that, we open one more uh, uh, um, communication media. We use Telegram for all students in all section to be in that group. Okay, so that one is for only assessment, which involve all section. My WhatsApp just now is for my class only, but this one is formal, is for so that you can differentiate. You don't want to mix the discussion, so that this is like examination hall, everything are serious. Okay, you need to things like that. Okay, so and then I use for examination Telegram, and then I use e-learning for to share, because take home exam is where it's open book, so we share question, and then the student do respond to the question. They can open book, they can refer to anything, then they submit at the end of the session. Okay, it's more like open-ended question. Okay, next, more tools for sharing. Okay, I use Padlet. Like for example, just now I said I have two type. Usually in my class, I have problem solving, which is formative, I mark, and for learning process, I use informal exercises, like just exercise. Just you just throw question to get to know whether the student understand what the material that you share. So I use Padlet so that the student can share their solution. So I will ask 1 or 2 group to share their solution. I will mark and give feedback to 1 or 2 group, not all. And then in WhatsApp, I said, okay, group 3, you did it correctly due to Group 4, that one is wrong. The mistake is, I give feedback. The purpose of this practice is just so that the student know what is the correct answer, what is my expectation at the end of the exercise. Okay, so I use Padlet so that all students can look at the other student solution. Okay, so because if they submit in e-learning, other student cannot view other student solution, right? Okay, this is for sharing purposes. Next, okay, next, forum is for more formal discussion, because usually I mark my forum session. I give mark. Usually my assignment, we have face-to-face presentation, right? But for my assignment this time, my project, we do forum. Okay, we allocate mark for forum so that I post question, post question in the forum. So the group must answer the question. But usually in class, if you ask after presentation, project presentation, you ask student, okay, any question from other group? Usually get 1 or 2 question, right? When I post forum, like if you can have a look at each group there are 20 plus question given and answer given to a particular group. It seems like the discussion is much more lively in e-forum, I think due to this generation. Okay, next. Okay, then I move to material. What should I prepare for my class? I think the first one is not much different. You can use existing note. I just reuse my notes. And then video. We discuss 3 types of video that I have. I develop. And then I also develop interactive content for video and notes. And then I will discuss about my formative projects and then take home test experience. Okay, next. Summative assessment. Okay, I will share my samples of my video. The first video is for programming topic where I need to show concurrent programming tools so that the student can develop concurrent programming in my class. So I developed this video so that the student understand how to use the tools, how to install the tools. Okay, this is example of one. Okay, so how to do programming with that tool. Second one is a normal lecture, okay, where you have your presentation slide, and then you present the slide using a PowerPoint, but you can use screen capture to allow you to draw while you explain about the task. Like for example here, if we are talking about task queue, I'm pointing at task queue, then I can draw something related to what I'm saying rather than I just record the voice. Okay. Another part of my class is mathematics. I also have mathematics. So I need to, because mathematics, the best is to show step by step. So I use software to capture screen where I write something and then describe. Because when we teach some mathematics equation for prediction or something, we tend to describe what with A is for what, T is for what. Then I use this method of video. Okay, okay, that is 3 types of video that I usually use in my class, because my class is mixture. I teach some equation, mathematical equation, programming, and a normal lecture. So to prepare video, make sure it's short. Like the most one video I have 5 minutes. So in 1 week lecture, I usually have 3, 4, maximum up to 6 video. Okay, so like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, maximum is 5. Okay, I think if you put a limit, for me, don't make it more than 10 minutes because it's too long. So that because when they start the video, they start activate their mind so that they need to focus. So it must be short in duration, small in size. So what you need to do is there are many tools where you can reduce the size of video, okay, and then must be simple. Okay, simple. I usually use YouTube where the student I put the link in my e-learning, then the student click there, and then they will bring the student to my YouTube channel. Okay, so among the tools that I use are QuickTime Player, Ice Cream, Screen Capture, and then for PowerPoint, I use just PowerPoint Record, where you can record your PowerPoint, just record. And then for mathematical equation, I use Microsoft Whiteboard so that you can just like writing on it. And then Paint, sometimes I use Paint, simpler. Sometimes I give up with Microsoft Whiteboard and I use Paint, and normal simple. So, but another tip that I would share is external resources. When you plan to develop video, don't just directly develop. Search the video first. them, because there are some video that I just reuse from existing video available in YouTube. Okay, if you have things that specific to example, specific to a particular example that you want to share with your student, then you develop your own video. Okay, because I know developing one video like takes technical video like takes longer time. Okay, but what's so good is we can use it many times. Okay, next. Okay, interactive content. I usually use H5P for interactive content, because like in your notes, you can put question where when they arrive at this page of note, you bring pop-up question to the student to see whether they understand the note. Okay, then they need to answer. Okay, is it, in this way situation if this situation happen, your WhatsApp channel will be actively start asking question. Doctor, why your answer is 2-2? Why my answer is 2-1? Things like that when they get their answer wrong. Because this is just exercise. They can just make mistake. Then you start explaining in the WhatsApp. The same thing with video just now. Okay, video you can insert interactive up to that point. Then you post question and you ask the student to answer. But some of my note I purposely inject bugs, like we software engineering we call it bug. Purposely inject mistake in your slide, then you put this interactive, then you ask your student what are the mistake of this. Like for example, you put equation, and like for example that equation is supposed to be plus, then in example you put it minus, then you stop it there, and then you say what is the mistake that I made in this? Just a simple question, just to see whether they are really focused with what they are learning. Okay, a simple one. Okay, next. Okay, and then short quiz as well. Like for example, if I have a long basic theory, like here I discuss about theory of real time. It's a basic and boring theory. So rather than ask them to read 20 pages of note, then I give them a short quiz, true, false, then they read the note at the same time, they answer my question. Okay, so they're reading the note, answer my question, so that we try to understand the notes. Okay, next. Okay, that is teaching and learning material. Then I go to assessment. Okay, assessment, I will give one example of formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment here, I will discuss about my project that I give to my student. And then summative is my take-home test. I also have another summative for take-home examination, but our examination in UTM start in 5th of July, so it's not start yet. So I just share this take-home test. Okay, next. Okay, for formative assessment project, make sure the expectation is explicit. What you want at the end of the project must be explicit. Okay, question is normal. Assessment mark allocation must be clearly say, like this item 5 mark, this item 20 mark, this item 30 mark. Okay, and then deadline. Okay, because this is formative assessment, you need to check in between, right? You need to clearly say, okay, I want to check your progress 1 here, progress 2 there. What are the things that you need to deliver for progress 1, progress 2, and things like that. Okay, and then another important thing is assessment rubric. Assessment rubric really helps students to understand what they should do and what they should focus in the assignment. Okay, this is example. Like you need to we draft this rubrics for all sections. The first submission is technical report. These are the rubric that I use to evaluate technical report. Next. Go there, down, further down. Okay, further down. Okay, the second thing that the student needs to submit is a review report. These are the rubric that the student need to that I will use for to evaluate the review report. Next. This is short video. When they submit video, what is my expectation of the video? How long is the video? What type of video? What is the storytelling storyline that I expect the student to do? Okay, so next. Okay, this is another video. Okay. Individual reflection. I have individual reflection where each student will need, I will also discuss with you what is my individual reflection. Next. And including the question and answer forum. How I give mark to that forum. What you should do, you should ask other question, you should answer all the question. If you miss answering certain question, then I will need to deduct your mark, things like that. Okay, these are the rubric that we usually develop. Okay, so be explicit so that the student know, okay, to get these 3 marks, I should do this. Yeah, so the student just refer to our rubric. Deadline, be particular when the student need to submit this particular phase and when you need to check the progress, when they need to submit presentation, when you need to open the question and answer. Be particular, okay, so that the student know what to expect. Okay, one thing good about rubrics that I usually organize progress 1 where the student need to submit their draft, okay, of their report. And then what I did is I use my rubric for group review. For example, I appoint one group to review other group using the rubric that I gave. Okay, next. Okay, this is example of comment. Like for example, one group give mark to another group. The red note is justification why they give mark to, like for example 10/20 to their friend. So their comment will be based on the rubric that I gave, that we document in the rubric. So when they do that in the progress, they really know that what they should do, in what they should do correction before they really submit the project. Okay, next. And then e-forums, usually I conduct e-forum based on video, not report. Like for example, if I give assignment, then the student need to do video presentation, then I share the visual presentation with other groups. Then other group can ask other groups about their video. And then I also will ask the group. And then if the group asks other question, they will get extra marks. And then the group being asked, they need to answer all the question given by me and the other groups. Okay, next. Okay, this is, as I mentioned, in individual project reflection, because one approach in convention in non-online teaching and learning that we adopted for this course is collaborative learning. Okay, so it's very challenging to make sure the student work collaboratively. So that's why we impose this individual project reflection, where based on one task that you give, for example, you give a project, you want their feedback in terms of their opinion on how they conduct the thing collaboratively. Okay, so they said, considering your 100 non-physical face-to-face interaction with your group member, a classmate, you proceed with the project. And what can you say about this adaptability and how you change if you not physically meet others? Okay, how you manage your group, how you work collaboratively. Then each group need to write, each individual student in the group, so it is individual, they need to write a reflection report. Okay, next. Okay, that one is formative assessment. So then we move to summative assessment, take-home exam. So our course, we choose take-home exam. Take-home exam here is more like, there are 2 types, traditional or alternative. Okay, and then both of it must be open-ended question. It cannot be restricted question. If you want to proceed with restricted, minimize the value of restricted question. Okay, next. Okay, this is example of my question for my test. My test is 20% out of the overall mark. We gave the student 4 structured questions, and then based on 2, because this is final year student, okay, based on 2 technical paper, article, journal article. Okay, so my question 1 and 2 will based on the first article. Question 3 and 4 will be based on the second article. Okay, then you will share the article with the student before exam. Okay, only the article. Okay, then these are the topic that I cover in my test. Okay, we have 2 sections, Dr. Aziza and myself. Okay, this is how I plan. Okay, because we choose to have take-home exam. Take-home exam recommendation to have higher hot bloom, which is high order thinking skill. So we need to plan before that. What are the value of lot and hot that you low order thinking and hot order thinking that you want to prepare for that for your test. So we decided set 75-25. So 25 is just a simple question where the student just can copy it from book, but only 25%. And 75, they really need to think further in order to understand. So when we plan, because question 1 and question 2, Dr. Aziza designed the question 3 and 4, I designed the question. Then we have this agreement before we start writing the question. Then we will achieve it. But definitely before you need to coordinate, like you get to negotiate. Can you give me more lot? Things like that. Then you need to connect with your colleague. Okay, next. Okay, preparation for tests. As I mentioned just now, we use telegrams. Why? Because we want to have different environment from class. Because this is examination hall. It should be more serious matter in this class rather than your class where you can have discussion, have joke, you can have things like that. Okay, so in e-learning, we have one preparation for test. So before test, we will prepare this. First, article to be read by the student before test. So we provide this article 24 hours before we start exam. So the student can do revision, look at the articles, things like that. And then test information procedure. Okay, in test information procedure, we will explain to them how to download question, when they will receive password, because when we before we start the test, we already make the question available 5 to 10 minutes before test, and then they can download but without password, so they cannot open. So like for example, in examination hall, we start the exam at 10 o'clock and we will share the password at 10 o'clock. So meaning that everybody can open, like in examination hall, we not allow students to open the question until we officially started, right? So because we want to time. So this is the case. Then we provide the password, then everybody can open the document, and then they can start answering the question. Okay. So these are the instruction, and then what they can do, what they cannot do during exam. Okay. And then integrity declaration. This form is very important for online. What they should do, what they shouldn't do. If they do it, you can give them 0 on things like that. So you just warn them what they shouldn't do. And then how to submit. Like for example, when to submit, how to submit. Okay. Next. Okay, after this, we implemented this test before Hari Raya. Okay, we run this test before. These are the things that we need to infer further from the test. problem to contact some students. For example, we forgot to ask phone number in the declaration form. We should put phone number. Ask them to declare which phone number we should contact you, because some students, they use different number for call, different phone number for social media and for WhatsApp, for Telegram. So when we try to communicate and call them using social media, they did not pick it up. Things like that. So make sure in the declaration form you ask them to declare these are the phone number that I will use during the examination. Then all the official communication will be there. And another thing is submission. When the students submit, in our take home test, we appointed interim submission, meaning that in the middle, after 1 hour, we ask the student to submit whatever they have, because we want to trace, is it going to be very different with what they're going to submit at the end? It's like checking, is it correct? So it's just to double check. So in interim submission, so then 2 times the student will submit, interim in the middle and then at the end. But the one that we will check will be the one they submitted at the end of the exam. And then the problem that we face is because the student too panic, they're not so familiar, some of them attach different file, wrong file. Then meaning that after you receive the file, you must check each student. So you give like, okay, please stay like after 1 o'clock, the exam stop at 1 o'clock, please stay with us for 15 minutes. We want to check each script. And then if that is the script, you need to reconfirm. Like for example, one of my students, he just answered 2 questions. He did not answer another last 2 questions. And then I call him and ask, is that what you submit? And then he said, oh, he wrongly submit the interim again rather than the final. Then you give them like 5 minutes more to submit the right script. Okay. And then my exam was 3 hours. I think too long. So I need to give them break. Okay. So I think 1 hour plus you need to give break. Like after 45 minutes or 1 hour, give them break so that continue again after that. And then we implemented round robin marking. Like for example, I design question 3 and 4. I will mark question 3 and 4 for all sections because I can see pattern. I already complete the marking last 2 weeks. I can see pattern. They share the script from one section to another section. They're not going to share in the same section because they know that the same lecturer will mark. But since I marked the Dr. Aziza section, there are answer that exactly the same. So if you do round robin marking, like Dr. Aziza mark question 1, 2 for all section, I mark question 3 and 4 for all section, then it will solve the problem. And then you also can run turn-in because in my class, in our exam take home, there are 2 types. Some lecturer, they allow the student to write handwritten, and then capture the image and then send the image. But for my class, all text must be typed because if I feel it's so familiar, the answer is so familiar, I will run turn-in. That's how I'm not run to all script, just selected script that I think is not that reasonably, disability is quite high, then I run. Okay. To revise the cost taxonomies level, why I put this is because there are my friends who would like to implement take-home exam, but their course only target up to Bloom C2. Okay, C2 is low of order thinking, right? Skill. So it's not suitable for take-home exam. So I said either you revise or you change take-home exam to different type of exam. Okay, so you need to consider that before you choose what type of summative assessment that you want to use in your course. Okay, next. Okay, lesson that I learned, I need to change, I need to amend a bit from the strategy that I used before. Okay, I can implement the IoT project, okay, because IoT project I implemented before RMO. Okay, we have two projects. I already gave them training and everything before RMO. But the problem is robot. The problem is my robot is during RMO all in UTM lab, and I don't have with me. If it with me, then I can post it to all my students. But it's in UTM, I cannot enter UTM. Then what I did was, because this robot is based on my research work, I published quite a number of paper on that particular case study of robot. So what I did is I changed the research, the project into simulation, and then ask the student to use simulation and give the requirement of robot based on my papers, and do the prediction of the real-time timing of the robot based on the simulation. But physical, that's why I put here cancel physical hardware for that particular robot. Okay? But if the student can come to the lab, we have the robot in the lab, the student can do the prediction, collect timing, and then, okay, you do that. And then expert sharing also we need to cancel, because some of the students cannot have synchronized class, so they don't have the bandwidth for that, then we cancel. No change for learning outcome. We need to tune the fit assessment, and then teaching and learning also we need to tune. Okay, next. Okay, I think that's it. I open.
Yep, thank you very much, Dr. Dayang, for that thorough sharing of your own experiences, implementing full online teaching and learning. Especially, I think there's a lot of processes going on when you talk about your own lessons from your own course. Starting from the course plan, you have to change it, and then run it, and then tune it again, right? Until sampai assessment. So really, thank you very much for sharing all of those steps that you have to go through, including rubrics, etc. So I'm just going to. We're going to stop for a while, and I'm going to ask some questions. After this, Dr. Dayang will continue on. There's some more tips that she's going to share. Okay, but let me read some sharing from the chat box, Dr. Dayang, yeah?
Okay.
One of the participants, Dr. Azara, okay, she communicate a lot of sharing of her thoughts as well, based on your presentation. In the beginning, before we start our planning, or you share with us your online short survey, okay, to your students. She thinks that it seems to be critical, because so that we don't make assumptions on choosing either to use synchronous or asynchronous mode. And she thinks that it's essential, because some of us might think that replacing face-to-face is equal to synchronous online. You mean live. So your example shows that you have to make an attempt to understand your learners first before you plan your teaching deliveries and materials. She said also very thorough course plan. Yeah, I agree with her as well with your examples. Thank you very much. Especially, I agree as well with regards to the snap screen or snapshot snap screen of your WhatsApp communication with students. A very explicit and detailed through WhatsApp instruction, what students need to do and prepare, and also feedback. You also use WhatsApp for delivering feedbacks to students as well, right?
Yes.
Do you use WhatsApp for the entire class duration?
Yes, for 3 hours I use WhatsApp.
Right.
Usually I start my class like giving them first enter, give attendance, and give like half an hour to 1 hour for the student to digest all the information that
Right.
you share, like for example the notes, the video, and everything, and start giving them exercises. And
Okay.
then so that 1 hour the student will give, don't give too long exercise, like give them like a half an hour, 15-minute exercises so that they can share answer with you, and you start giving them comment. Then from there, you know whether they understand the material or not, or they misunderstood what you are delivering.
When you use WhatsApp, Prof, do you encounter any student who run away from the subject, meaning that they are discussing something that is quite out of topic?
No,
Because
in my
okay,
WhatsApp,
good.
yeah. And then another thing, we know that there are certain group of students on will always respond to the WhatsApp, like the 50% of the student respond. There are certain number
Right.
of students not respond, but you know their attendance is there. They are somewhere in the room, in the WhatsApp room.
In
You
the
try to
WhatsApp.
call their name to say, just pick up their name. Haziq, how are you today? Don't ask them technical. Just say, how are you today? Are you with us? Then get to know whether they are in the system, and then if they're not in the system, because my exercises in group, okay,
Right.
so their group member will answer on behalf of them,
Right. True.
because they do the discussion in group. Okay.
Another comment from Tazara as well, like the idea of e-forum with marks. That's for formal assessment. You use Padlet for informal, and you use e-forum for formal assessment.
Meaning that,
Yeah?
yes,
Does it contribute towards how do you weight the marks for e-forum?
I have rubric for e-forum. I share you already the rubric for e-forum. Like, for
Right.
example, all question must be answered. How professional they answer the question? Is it they answer in formal way or informal way? As I mentioned, forum is formal. You need to ask question formally. So if the WhatsApp is not formal, you can just say hi and non-formal communication. So it seems like they understood that and they start using formal, and then they try to be polite. Like for example, if some of their friend ask question, they say, thank you very much for asking question. It's quite interesting experience.
Right. Good exercise for them as well to I mean discuss in a formal way. One question from Chua Kiman. Interim submission for the test.
Yes.
Seems like a good idea, but would it be more convenient to use tools like Google Docs where everything is logged real time?
Yeah, it's possible to use Google Doc as well. If you want them to use Google Doc, and then you can monitor. But yeah, that's a good idea where you can monitor them lively, and then this
Right.
yeah, that's a good idea. Just that
Mhm.
Google Doc, you need to be with the system, and the system will synchronize you with the things that you update, right? And then if the Google, you can share the Google Doc, they can share Google Doc with you. They can also share the Google Doc with somebody else.
Right.
But still okay. Might be we can control the access to be.
The one that you did, Dr. Dayang, the test that you did for the take-home test, that is that the final assessment or is it
No, that one is the midterm
for the
assessment.
midterm? Right. So you are going to implement the same method of for the final assessment?
We doing take-home exam as well for final, but as I mentioned to you, my nature of course is mixed. Like I have some portion of lab, some portion of equation. The second half of my class is more like equation, prediction. You know, I cannot have very much open-ended like what I did in test. Test is very open-ended because it's just opinion. It's quite difficult for student to copy because it's based on their discussion, then you give mark. But for my final, it's like the student, I give a case study where the student need to predict the timing, use mathematics and things like that. It's quite easy for them to you know, to look at the sample and come. So what we did is we develop more than one set. So we divide the question into two parts, question 1 and section A and section B. Then we develop like 3 set for question A, 4 question, 3 set for each question, and then 3 set for section B. And then when we post them question, we pick the question randomly.
Shuffle the question.
Shuffle the question so that the student will get different set of question as compared to their friend. So that's what we plan to implement for final.
All right. From Azza again, a comment. Really like your sharing, Prof. Very practical since you have experienced it. Really help you to prepare mentally for the upcoming class next semester. So really, this semester we just approached 2 weeks already. So I think this is the sort of trying to improve it more. It's only the second week. This is the second week. So I think your agile methodology is quite important as well. We can plan, but sometimes that did not turn out. Yeah. So we have to again improve it. Let's see. Another question, Dr. Dayang. Do you have any experience teaching graduate students? Are there any different in terms of planning? Yeah, graduate student. Are there any different in terms of planning your teaching and learning from the undergraduate?
Okay. I teach undergraduate and postgraduate alternatively. So this semester I'm teaching undergraduate. Next semester, inshallah, I'm teaching postgraduate, advanced data structure. Okay. When I have experience for postgraduate, but in terms of online, I have short experience last semester when in November 2019, I was in Germany for research attachment, 1 month research attachment. So November is where our semester is still up, right? So what I did was I did not cancel my class. I conduct it online from Germany. So only 1 month. From that, I gained certain experience. It was not so nice experience because luckily it's one month. From that, I learned further. Then I improve in my. In terms of postgraduate, okay, exercises need exam should be very much hot as compared to lots because we have more opportunity to ask open-ended question as compared to undergraduate. Like luckily, my course SCSJ for 4 to 3 is for final year student because final year student already know how to read paper. We already teach them in final year project how to read paper, how to evaluate. Then it's easier. But if you teaching first year students, second year student is much more challenging to come up with reading paper, writing journal reflection. You can do it, but you need to guide them one by one. Okay. Postgraduate is much more easier, I think, because they already have the skill to answer open-ended assignment and assessment. Yeah?
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Dayang. That's all the question for now. Mr. Chua Kim would also say appreciate the sharing, very, very informative. Thank you, everybody. I think Dr. Dayang.
Excuse me, Dr. Tini. There is another question from, I think from Dr. Norazian. Okay, Assalamualaikum Dr. Dayang. Thank you for the great sharing session. Referring to the process in the early slide, plan, run, evaluate, and improve. My question is, do we need to do evaluation and improvement during the semester running or for the next semester? Thank you.
Okay. First few weeks of your lecture, usually first few weeks of my lecture, I will share, ask my student to share feedback. Like for example, do you like the class? Which part of it you don't understand? Every like first few weeks until you see the problem become minimized, then you stop. Okay. Else, if you continue, they're not going to answer anymore. Okay. And then for my test, after the end of my test, we share survey so that we need to improve for our final. Okay. So anything that you introduce something new, then the best is to have a simple survey so that the student can respond. What's so good, like tools like Telegram, things like that, you can have polls, right? The student can vote and see whether they like it or not. And think that, yeah, the answer for Dr. Nur Azian is yes. You need to do it until you are reached at the satisfactory, you are confident with the student competency of online teaching and learning process.
Any more questions, Dr. Ina?
There is no question. We can proceed with our Dr. Dayang presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Mazlina. Okay, I proceed with my experience as academic administrator at School of Computing. Before I start, I just would like to introduce background of my school so that people will know what do I mean by school, what is faculty and things like that. Okay, next. For our alumni, they might don't know what is School of Computing, because it evolved from Department of Computer Science, Institute of Computer Science to Faculty of Computer Science and Information System, Faculty of Computing, and now we are changed since 2018. We changed to School of Computing, Faculty of Engineering. Okay, so if I'm referring to school, it's belong to the computing, and then we are under Faculty of Engineering. Okay, next. We have 5 undergraduate program and then 8 postgraduate program. Okay. Our undergraduate program, we have 1 2U2I program where our first batch of 2U2I during IMCO is with industry for the second semester. And then the challenge is some of their company allowed them to work from home and some of them not allowed them to work from home, especially for critical sector like medical sector. Okay, they need to go to work. So these are the challenge that where the student and the lecturer need to communicate with student to discuss what happened during their 2U2I learning, because in this second semester they're doing their final year project with industry. Okay, we have around 1,330 students for undergraduate and 486 students for postgraduate. Next. This is another challenge where most of our we have among the majority number of international students are with our faculty. Like for undergraduate students, 23% of the students are international, and more than 50% of the students for postgraduate are international. So if things happen, you know, the students start asking whether they can go home, is everything 100% online, things like that, we need to react. And then we need, as a faculty administrator, we need to really sure what is the decision, whether we can allow the student to go home and they must stay for final exam. So the decision must be very fast and concise. Okay, next. I just share with you where are they from. They are from different part of the world. Next. Okay, this is our total academic staff. Okay, next. Okay. For, as I mentioned, just now I did feedback for my class. Okay, my class feedback is very focused with my class implementation. Okay, but faculty, a school must have their own feedback as well to make decision. We cannot make decision without looking at the figures, without looking at what your student going to say, what the student are facing, the problem they're facing, and what the problem with the lecturer. Because when we start in the 1st April, it's still RMO. Some of my, because before we start RMO school holiday, right? There are a number of our lecturer went back home for Kenduri Kendara. So they stuck at home. Like some kampung, they cannot have coverage. So how they're going to start their online class on the 1st April? So these are the challenge that we need to face during with the lecturer. And then the student, they are in campus, okay, not that much problem. Okay, and then so there are many feedback collected. As I mentioned just now, student need to answer UTM feedback, faculty or school feedback, program level feedback, course feedback. Okay, when so many feedback, we need to coordinate. Meaning that we don't want to ask student the same question again and again. Anything that we can extract from the course, we extract from the course. Because the course response is highest as compared to if you post your survey for program level, faculty level, or university level. Why? Because the students are personally engaged with the lecturer. And another post survey that much more reliable and very easy to get 100% feedback is from academic advisor. Because academic advisor are very close to the lecturer. So two student course feedback and academic advisors feedback. But and again, we need to coordinate. Okay, if we school want to come up with their survey, what type of survey? It should be different with course survey. Any information that you can collect from course, then you collect from course. Anything that you can collect from university, collect the information from university, unless if the information or the respondent is not enough. Okay, next. That's what we call personal feedback. Okay, these are the feedback that I will share with you what are the feedback that we did during our online learning. The first one is student feedback. Okay, next. We coordinate our student feedback because university has already two feedback. First is perception of distant and online implementation. Second is preparedness of online implementation. The one is to look at their capacity of network and everything. And then student online feedback, and then our school decided to do perception, because when we look into number 2 and number 3, we cannot get the thorough perception of what our student think of our distant or online learning. So if you analyze your university feedback and it seems like enough, then you just use your university survey. And the thing that you can help university is to make sure your student answer the university survey and collect the data for university and make decision for your faculty, rather than redo the survey again, because the student need to answer the same survey many times. Okay, next. So we coordinate. Okay, among the question, okay, we conducted the survey for a few weeks. Reason is to look at the problem and to collect all problem. And then we collect until we solve most of the problem, reduce the complaint, and then get more positive feedback from the student. Okay, among the question that we ask is like, as I mentioned there, online effectiveness, how effective, supervision effectiveness for undergraduate and postgraduate, for final year student project, and for research student, what do they think of their supervision effectiveness? Because our progress still on, final year project still on. So, and class status, how how we organize the lecturer, organize the class synchronized or unsynchronized test based, or has their lecturer start their class yet? Okay, we found that in week one, like a certain percentage of the class is not start. It's okay. Difficulty in doing their research for postgraduate student, trouble having, if they have any problem in collecting research material, and problem in contacting our staff. Like for example, if the student in the process of submitting thesis, they want to know the status of their viva, is it easy for them to contact our support staff? These are the opinion that we want them to. Okay, next.
Dr. Dayang,
Yes.
when you said you conduct the survey for a few weeks,
Yes.
is it meaning you repeatedly ask post the survey every week, or
No,
that
we opened the survey for a few weeks and we analyze and monitor for the survey for a few weeks.
okay?
After we have we think that we're satisfied with the feedback and we have addressed all the problem, we stop the survey, meaning that we stop asking or distribute the survey. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Okay, definitely among feedback are internet connection. Okay. Oh, sorry for the spelling error. Conducive environment. I want to say conducive environment. Sorry. And then student workload, because they think that when we change to online, the workload is going to be more and more as compared to if they do it face to face. Okay. So I will discuss with you how we solve that problem. Okay, with our student. And then communication with the lecturer. For example, they're having problem to communicate with this lecturer. The rest does not respond. And then they also raise issue of final year project. They said, what happened to the final year project? What happened to the practical training issue and things like that? This is the feedback that the student gave from the survey. Okay, next. Okay, that is student survey. I will discuss with you later everything, how we solve or close the survey feedback. Then we also did survey to collect feedback from lecturer. Okay, because lecturer is the most important person to execute the online. If they're not with us, it's going to be problem. So we need to closely get their feedback besides student. Okay. UTM lead, which is our UTM lead, is like your CAM, also post feedback. Okay, but the feedback is too general, so that's the reason why SC come up with our own feedback. Okay, next. We monitor the feedback for 3 weeks. Okay, here I just share with you report for 2 weeks. Meaning that I need to report the survey result to my Jawatankuasa Academic Sekolah every week. And then see which lecturer or which student still having problem with this online. Okay, so then first week there are 21%, nearly 22% class not start because we start on Wednesday, right? So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday already holiday. Then week 2, there are certain portions, still certain portion, because we get to know there is a staff where he or she went back for her for a school holiday. She did not bring the computer, only has handphone. So head of department need to think about this. We need to discuss. Should we appoint somebody else to cover? Should we things like that? Okay, it's not we need to help the lecturer, and then because they just want to go for school holiday break for kenduri, so they don't have they only have minimum handphone. How to lecture using handphone? How to prepare material? So things like that that we need to consider. Okay, and then next, we monitor the methods what they use. How many? So it seems like most of the lecture using unsynchronized, not synchronized. Okay. So this one is for us to know what type of training we should push to our staff. If most of them doing asynchronized, so task based, we need to plan for this type of training. Okay. And then next, okay, the same thing. Okay, and then this one is attendance. We want to see their class attendance. How many students involved in the class? Okay, when we satisfied, it seems like okay, is from the point of view the student attendance is okay. Then we can proceed. Okay, next. Okay, this is student among the feedback like internet, definitely. Lack of natural interaction, I know because this is new thing, no face-to-face interaction, so it's normal. Synchronized learning need longer time to prepare. Okay, that's we know, we appreciate that. Then we ask coordinator to coordinate. Like for example, if you have 9 section, you divide the video into 9 lecturers so that like one lecturer do one topic and then the other. So these are the things that we need to instruct lecturer to do so that you can share. What are the things that you can share among lecturers? Okay, and then what are the sharing session that we should, like for example, who are people who are the staff who really have experience in programming, online programming, then ask our staff to prepare sharing session and ask them to conduct sharing session with other staff, things like that. This is the reason for the survey. Short notice for student to join class because we announce a week before, then the student in doubt, both lecturer and student in doubt, is it really true we were going to start in the first April? So very short notice. Everybody keep on praying saying that ada jalan lah boleh postpone, but no way. UTM said 1st April, 1st April. But UTM said give us ample time to prepare. Okay, like for example, if you cannot prepare, start your class first week, start in the second or third week. Okay, but you must start end of end of April. You must start because else you don't have enough weeks to cover all the material. Okay, difficult to determine the student understanding towards topic. So we know we need to give more training, programming and other technical courses, problem installation. So we need to have a technical committee to, like we have courses like data analytic where we need to make sure the student can access to the server, make sure the server is not down, get somebody to go to UTM, technical person, and then check the server and think, make sure everything are okay so that online class will be okay. And then if we need to upgrade any license, some of the license only for lab, then we want to open the license for so that the student can access online. These are the things that we need to discuss in Jawatankuasa Pentadbiran Sekolah. Okay. And then another one is students still in holiday mode. This is quite weird. All right. And then next. Another survey that we conducted is for assessment. Because when we already did our midterm assessment, we post survey to our lecturer so that we can plan for our final exam assessment. Okay, the objective of the survey is to get their experience for midterm and to plan for final exam. Okay? And then to also get more sharing, like for example, get one lecturer from take-home exam, do sharing with other lecturer, and then alternative assessment, sharing with other lecturer in the domain, and then different type of assessment, then post more sharing based on the survey. We know, like for example, next, Next. Okay. From that survey, we know take-home exam going to be majority, 49% of the final exam we conduct in the first April will be take-home exam. So we will conduct like more than one take-home exam sharing among the lecturer. And then we also do alternative assessment and online online is synchronized exam sharing. Okay. Then after we get all this, we need to inform our student the list of assessment and type of assessment they will face during final, because they need to know what type of exam that is it an alternative, is it so they need to prepare accordingly. Okay, I know each lecturer already informed the student, but our pejabat academic office issue formal letter to all students, formal email to all students to list the type of assessment for their final exam. Okay, so as I noted there, alternative assessment already started first 7 June to 25th. Okay, this is still lecturing week. We already managed to vet all alternative assessment question before Hari Raya. Because alternative assessment, we also vetted the question and all the rubric used to mark the alternative assessment. Summative assessment, not formative, it's only the summative. And then for online assessment, including the synchronized and asynchronized, which is a take-home exam, officially we start on 1st July. So now we are at the end of the process of vetting. And then we vet many different type of vetting. We vet the question and we vet the platform used to, is it that platform suitable for that particular type of exam? Okay, because we allowed the lecturer to choose their own platform. Like for example, our friend just now want to use Google Doc, then we look at it, and then the vetter will give recommendation whether that platform is suitable for this type of exam that choose by the lecturer. So not only the content, is about the online implementation of the exam also will be checked by panel. Okay, next. Okay, after all that feedback that we collected from our students, so we define a process how to solve this problem. So every meeting we list all the problem from the student and then we cross which problem we already solved. If we need to talk to lecturer, like for example, as I mentioned, we have lecturer who having problem like medical problem, cannot use computer more than certain hours for online, then we need to help this lecturer. The same thing with lecturer who stranded somewhere in their hometown. We need to think about it. We need to get somebody to back up the lecturer. Get a lecturer to, like for example, we make the section bigger. Like for example, for session 2 and session 3, we combine in one section for this period until we can get the lecturer back. These are the things the administrator think of and to solve. If we don't get feedback from student and don't get back from lecturer, we don't really can solve up to this detail. Okay, next. I would like to emphasize the role and function of academic advisor. We really emphasize academic advisor really need to monitor their student and advise the student. Any problem, consult. That's why we give instruction to student. Any problem, immediately consult or discuss with academic advisor. Okay, and then lecturer. Okay, we also discuss. Make sure lecturer also appoint inform academic advisor if their student having problem. Okay, so the responsibility of academic advisor will become a bit bigger here, in order to advise whether they should drop the class or should continue with the course, they should defer their study and things like that. Okay, this is the academic advisor role. Okay, next. Okay, these are some of the feedback, how we respond to the feedback. Okay, the first problem is with student, we organize webinar session where we ask our students to organize series of webinars so that we can discuss their problem and post solution. Okay, so like for example, the first webinar that we did is about stay motivated, stay productive during COVID. So we start the webinar for undergraduate and postgraduate, discuss, bring our chair and invite postgraduate student, undergraduate student as a panelist, and then they also give their problem and then advice and things like that. And then the second session we did was get the most from FYP and internship during COVID. Okay, what are the procedure? The student will post their problem and their worries about it, and we directly answer. And then the last one that we did is what to expect from e-assessment. So you can, if you want to look at our webinar, you can go to our Facebook. So you can have a look at example how we organize. So basically, we invite, organized by our student association. And then we will discuss with students what are the topic to discuss, and then invite crowd. The crowd is not that bad. One webinar we can get up to 2,000 plus students at one. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, how we close feedback with lecturer. Okay, problem to start online class and to prepare online class. If we, because not all lecturers are very positive about this online class. I don't know UNIMAS, but not all lecturers are positive. But there are minimum, yeah, minimum, not that many. Some of them are very keen to start, okay, to try new thing. How we did with this type of lecturer, we do mentor-mentee. We appoint lecturer who already have experience with online and pair it with the lecturer who quite reluctant and cannot start. Okay, so we help them. And then more than one section share. As I mentioned just now, we share material. Like we discuss with coordinator, make sure coordinator try to coordinate what are the material that you can share so that everybody can, rather than prepare each section different material, then each section can share material. Okay, sharing, and then sharing session among staff. Like for example, we look at the feedback, what are the problem our staff, is it problem with the tools, is it problem with the assessment, is it problem? So we propose sharing session according to the feedback from the lecturer. Okay. School meetings. Since April, we have school meeting every month. Usually we did it once every semester. We did it every month because there are so many guidelines, so many procedures we need to discuss and we need to explain. So what's so good is we just can do it online, and the participation is high as compared to face-to-face that we usually did. Then in the session we discuss and solve problem and see what are the possible problems. Okay, next. Okay, I'm about to conclude. So as a conclusion, I think I really recommend agile methodology where frequent value of delivery, meaning that you deliver frequently to your student, but you improve every time you deliver. Okay, adaptive to change, meaning that you need to be adaptive, look at the situation and change. And then team collaboration is very important. You work as a section, you work as a group, you work, rather than work alone. And then customer collaboration, our customers are students. And you need to collaborate with students. You need to explain to the student what's the problem, and then try to understand both problem. The student has their own problem, lecturer also has their own problem, and try to make the lecturer and the student appreciate each other problem so that they can work together to solve the problem. Yeah. Okay, next. This is my last video. I know that you cannot listen to this video, but you can download this video. This video helped me to come up with the title. The first one is highlight is more.
We can sort of
Okay,
listen to the, but it's not that loud. Tenggelam timbul.
But okay, so if everybody aware that during my presentation, I put notes about lesson learned. Actually, I got that lesson learned from this video. So when I watched this video, I said it's very motivational. Then I think it's really helped. So hopefully everybody can just have a look at the video, and then I think implement anything that you think you can benefit from the video. Okay, the third one is use technology intentionally. We need to look at the purpose. Okay. So when I watched this video, I really like it. That's why I proposed quite similar question to the similar title for this. Okay, next. Okay, I think that's the end of my sharing. Back to you, Dr. Kartini.
Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah. Associate Professor Dr. Dayang Norhayati for giving us that talk, not just looking at what we can do as lecturers, but the whole ecosystem, especially the faculty, the program coordinators, okay, that can help support students as well as lecturers in implementing full online teaching and learning. So thank you very much for that. Dr. Mazlina, is there any question in the Q&A?
Yes, there is another questions from Dr. Muhammad Faizal. Okay, what is your comment on Sabah girl who's struggling with internet connection while preparing for the exam? Honestly, we are not chasing too much on the technology, but at the same time protecting the needs of learning regarding this issue, connectivity of internet regardless of in any area. Okay, so he would
Okay.
like to know your comment, Doctor.
Okay. As I mentioned, especially exam, I think teaching is quite student can tolerate. Okay, where they can ask friend after the session if they miss the session. But for examination, we really need to choose it properly. That's as I mentioned just now. Before we design a question, type of question, we really need to survey our student. Okay, we need like for example, we need to survey what's the best. Should I use synchronized assessment? Should we use a synchronized assessment? Things like that. Okay, that decision we need to survey. You get feedback from student, and then after we decide, for example, you want to proceed with synchronized assessment, you need to do test run before the test.
See.
Run like before, like to just give them simple question, quite similar question, and then post to them. Like for example, the exam is 1 hour. You just test run it for 15 minutes and see what is the sometime like my students said it was okay in the morning, it's suddenly not okay in the afternoon. So if your exam is in the afternoon, so make sure you test run a week before in the afternoon, the exact time that you want to conduct it. So as I mentioned just now, try to that's why exam is very critical, assessment is very critical. We need to plan. And then as I mentioned to when I did webinar with our student, they also mentioned their frustration. They are very frustrated with exam where they cannot submit the script. Okay, and then I said, yeah, faculty or lecturer need to plan properly. What is the best assessment for their student? Not just decide on their own without looking at their student feedback on the capability of their networks and speed. And then another issue is conducive environment. We cannot assume all family, all students have their own space for examination. Okay, so if you decided to do it online, 1 hour, he cannot even get 1 hour uh, clear 1 hour to focus to answer your exam. And think about that. So things like that need to be discussed with students. So survey, feedback, each individual lecture need to ask their student. So for example, like this week, I starting ask my academic advisor, what are the problem with, do they going to, do they have any problem so far with assessment? So I started my survey yesterday, and I will look for the today and then to see what is my advice for my student. The same thing with my classes. I start to do survey even though we have not start the exam yet, and then need to plan.
I see. Okay. So means we have to have the collaboration from academic advisor as well, Dr. Dayang, in order to ensure the effectiveness of the assessment for our students. All right. So let me see whether we have any other questions from our participants. Right. Dr. Muhammad Faizal said thank you for the response, Dr. Dayang. All right. Okay. Back to you, Dr. Kartini.
Right. I just wanted to reiterate the emphasize on role of academic advisor. So Dr. Dayang, you as the student associate chair for academic and student development, so you use not use but you emphasize the academic advisor as one of the channel of communication from student from student to the faculty, right?
Yes.
obtaining that feedback and how to overcome the problems. I
Okay.
think that's a good emphasis.
Yeah, because if some of the students, if they're having problem in their courses, they're not going to complain to the lecturer. This is, I think, because we are because Malaysian, I think we're not used to do that. We tend to talk to somebody else. This is what happened. They usually talk to the academic advisor, and the academic advisor need to uh, so we need to the administrator need to give a proper channel if you get complaint about, okay, but if you get complaint about a particular student to a particular lecturer, there are also procedure to solve it. Sometimes we need to look at both situation. Okay, we need to investigate both situation. Both might be in a unpleasant situation, so we need to really dig into more detail. Don't jump into conclusion. We look at the problem, student problem, look at the lecture problem, and we as an administrator need to solve it at school level and see what the best suggestion that we can give to the lecturer or to the student.
I have a student who contacted me as an academic advisor, talking about the internet issues about the internet connection, and raise issues that she wanted to drop out. So because she cannot she cannot get a good line. So that's good that she reached out to me, but I didn't really reach out to all or ask all my academic my mentees or advisors. If there is any problem, you can inform me. So I think that's a good suggestion, and I will do it after this, inshallah.
InsyaAllah.
Because sometimes we as lecturer expect that student reach out to us. But
Yes.
we can also make the first move in asking them that question so that they feel a bit safe and comfortable to also talk to us if needed.
Yes. Yes.
Good point there, Dr. Dayang. Thank you for that sharing. Any more questions? There's no more questions here from me.
There is no question, Dr. Tini.
Okay, good. So I think that's all for now. That's the time we have left. We have already gone through 2 hours, Dr. Dayang, of this session. Quite good, Alhamdulillah. So I guess that's the time that we have left. So once again, very much welcome to our speaker today, Yang Berbahagia Associate Professor Dr. Dayang Norhayati, for that engaging session, sharing all the tips, experiences, first-hand experiences in implementing online teaching and learning, not just from the lecturer's point of view, but also from the administrative point of view, in handling, managing this full online teaching and learning. Thank you, Prof. Have a nice day ahead to everyone else as well. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.